really hard to succeed.
When
When
I
I
was
was
in
in
high
high
school,
school,
I
I
pushed
pushed
myself
myself
to
to
win
win
every
every
academic
academic
award.
award that I could.
When I got to
When I got to
university, I
university,
pushed
I
myself to
pushed
get
myself
straight
to get
A's in all
straight
my
A's
classes.
in all my classes.
I ended
I
up
ended up
spending 10
spending 10
years in
years in
university and got
university
my
and got
PhD.
my PhD in psychology.
From there, I
From
pushed
there, I
myself to
pushed
succeed in
myself
the
to
corporate
succeed in
world,
the
and
corporate
then I pushed
world,
myself to
and
be
then I pushed
successful
myself
as
to
an
be
entrepreneur.
successful as an entrepreneur.
I eventually
I
ended up getting a
eventually ended
job
up
at
getting
Harvard
a job
Medical
at
School, which is one of the
Harvard
top
Medical
academic
School, which is one of the
institutions.
top academic
And by
institutions
this
in the
point,
world.
I
By
won
this point, I
scholarships
had
and
won a lot of
awards
scholarships
and was
and awards.
reasonably
I was
successful. And there were
responsible
many people who were quite
reasonably successful, and there were many people who were quite proud of
but
me. But
I still
I
wasn't
still
happy.
wasn't happy.
So, for
So, for
example, when I was in
example,
my
when I was
20s,
in my
on the
20s, on the
outside, I looked
outside,
like a
I looked
thriving
like
young
a
woman
thriving young
who
woman
had
who was doing well academically and
interacted
who
with
had an
social
active
life.
social life.
But
But
inside, I was
inside, I was
struggling
struggling
with
with
self doubt.
troubling self-doubt and perfection.
I ended up spending
Perfectionism.
six
I ended
years
up
working in
spending
customer
6 years on
support and
cents and many
now
hours in
I
therapy.
eventually
Now I
managed to get
eventually
off of
managed to get off
antidepressants and
the
I got into
anti
doing
anti
yoga and
antidepressants, and I got in to things like yoga and meditation
and I
and
started to
personal
make my
development,
health
and
my
I started to
priority.
make my health and my well-being my number one
But still, there was
priority. But
something
still,
inside
there
that
was
kept
something
pushing me
inside
to
of me that
strive
kept
and to
pushing me to
achieve
strive
and to
and to achieve
succeed.
and to succeed.
And I
And I
eventually
eventually
realized that I had
realized that I
become
had
an
become an
achievement addict.
achievement addict.
So I had
So
become
I had
addicted
become
to the
addicted to the
attention and
attention and
approval
the
that often
profile that
come
often
along
come
with
along
being
with being
successful.
successful.
And so what I
And
would
so
do
what
is
I
I would
would
get
do
into
is
this
I would
pattern
get
where
into
I
the
would overwork
pattern where I would overwork
something,
towards some goal.
I would burn
I would
out,
burn out.
then I would
Then
maybe
I would
take a little
maybe
bit of
take a
time to
little bit of
recuperate,
time
and then I would start
recuperate, and then I
overworking
would
again. And I
start
would go through this
overworking again,
pattern
and I would go
over
through
and
this
over
pattern
again.
over and over and
So this
over.
cycle
So the
might
cycle
sound
might
familiar.
sound familiar to some of you.
These
You
days
know,
when you
these
ask
days when
someone,
you
how
ask
are you?
someone, who are
The
you?
most
The
common
most common
response tends to
response
be
tends to
busy.
be busy.
So we wear
So we
our
wear our
busyness like a
business
badge of
like a badge
honor,
of
as
honor,
if we
as if
don't
we
feel like
don't feel
we're a
like
worthwhile
we're
human beings unless
worthwhile
we're
human
incredibly
beings unless
busy
we are
doing something.
incredibly busy doing
But
something.
all this
But all this
busyness
business
is
is
coming at a
coming
cost.
at a cost,
And the
and the
cost
cost
is our
is
health.
our health and our well-being.
So a question
So
that I've
questions
been
that
working
I've
with in
been
my own
working
life,
with in
both
my own life,
personally
both
and
personally and professionally over the last
is
few years,
what if
is
there was
what if
another
there
way?
was another way? So,
So what if we could
what if we could
continue to be
continue to be a
members of
productive member of
society
society
without
without
destroying our
destroying
health
our
in
health and our well-being
process?
in the process?
And might it
And might
even
it
be
even be
possible to
possible
achieve
to
more
achieve more
by doing
by
less?
doing less?
Now I want to
Now,
make
I
it
want to
clear
make
from the
it
very
clear from
beginning
the
that
very
I'm not
beginning that I am not
advocating
advocating that
try.
we're not trying to
Life
laugh.
involves effort.
Involves
Yes, I
effort,
get that.
and I get that.
If we didn't
If we
exert
don't
any
exert
effort in our
any effort
lives,
in
we
our
probably
lives, we
wouldn't
probably
brush our
wouldn't
teeth
brush our
or
teeth
feed
or feed
ourselves
ourselves
or even
or
leave the
even
house.
leave the house.
So
So
obviously we need to
obviously we
engage
need
in
to
some
engage
effort.
in some effort.
But the
But the
trick
trick
seems to be
seems to
learning
be
how to
learning how
balance
to
effort
balance
with
effort
ease.
with ease.
And there are two
And
different
there are
types
two
of effort
different
that
types
I
of
believe
effort
we
that
engage
believe
in
we
our
can
lives.
engage in
And the
our lives.
first
The
type is
first type
something that
is
I like to
something that
call
I like to
upstream
call
effort.
upstream effort.
So when we're
So
engaged in
when we are
upstream
engaged
effort,
in
it
our
feels
stream
like we're
effort, I feel
pedaling a boat
like we are betting
upstream
about
against
upstream
the current.
against the current of the
So
world.
if
So it feels like you're trying really hard, you're pushing, you're striving, you're maybe burning out your health and well-being, or maybe suffering, and even so you are engaged in all this effort, it doesn't really feel like you are getting anywhere. Now, upstream effort is the type of effort, as I believe most of us in engagement on a regular basis, and in fact, society even encourages and rewards upstream effort. So, from a young age, many of us are taught to believe statements like nothing in life comes easy, and if it was easy, everyone would do it, and you have to fight really hard to make it in the world. So, most of us are familiar with this type of effort. But there is another type of effort we engagement called this one downstream effort. So when we are engagement in the stream effort, we are still engaged in effort. We are still trying. We are throwing a pot, but we are paddling at the pot downstream with the current of the water with the flow of life, if you will. So we have a goal, but we have a loose grip or loose attachment to that goal, and we are more focused on the process or the journey of getting towards that goal. Now, in the same way that there are different types of effort, there are all different types of success. So many of us are taught to believe that success means having a lot of money or a nice car or a big house, and there is not necessarily anything wrong with these things. It's just that we each need to define what authentic success means for us. So for you, authentic success might mean having a lot of money, or it might mean improving your social relationships, or it might mean improving your health. So we each need to define what authentic success means for us, because this helps us make decision in your life, guide us in the direction of downstream effort. And so the question then becomes, you know how to enhance downstream effort in order to reach our authentic goals. Because when I talk about the idea of achieving more by doing less, that what I am really referring to here in enhancing downstream effort in our lives in order to reach our authentic goal. But how do we do this? There are a few different things that we can do, and the first thing is that we need to engage in some work in order to being to cultivate downstream effort in our life. So one type of inner work that we can do is when can being to identify what we value in life. Now they can be difficult to define, but there are things like freedom, authenticity, joy, happiness, stability, and we need to identify what we value, because these values then serve as a north star or a compass to help guide us in the direction of downstream effort in our lives.